Welcome back to Let's Have a Powwow. I'm your host, Amy Fareed, and with me today, I'm speaking to Thómas, aka LANDBACK BADDIE. It's giving activist, it's giving model, it's giving content creator. Really, you're just a vibe. Would you agree?
Yeah,
I mean, it's giving vibes.
Yeah, it's giving vibes. You never know what you're gonna get sometimes.
All the vibes. What are the pronoun vibes?
He, him, she, her, they, them, that bitch.
Carry the one. Let's go.
Oh, fractions, all that. You know what I mean? A little bit of y equals mx plus b. She's a math girly.
Algebra.
Really.
Welcome, LANDBACK BADDIE, aka Thómas.
Yes.
Do you mind if I call you LANDBACK BADDIE?
Yeah, you can call me LANDBACK BADDIE, the baddie, Thómas.
The baddie, the one, and the only Thómas. Thank you.
You know, I will say though, I like to let everyone know I'm definitely not the one and only, but I'm certainly everyone's fucking favorite.
Okay, the favorite LANDBACK BADDIE.
No, honestly, when I was deciding on I remember before the LANDBACK BADDIE was birthed, I was trying to think of my slogan. And I was like, hey, what do I say? I'm like the one and only. And I was like, wait, hold up. Technically not the one and only. There's a lot of baddies out here doing the work, you know? But I'm certainly everyone's favorite.
But you're definitely my favorite. So you were just spoke about the origin story of LANDBACK BADDIE.
Yeah.
How did LANDBACK BADDIE start? What's that origin story? What's it giving?
You know, I've always been a baddie in one form or another. Actually, part of my story was growing up. I felt like I was often told that I was a bad kid. I grew up in Denver, Colorado my whole life.
Okay.
My parents are they're both public school teachers.
Aww.
So they were very big on, they wanted me to go to a school that they felt I was going to get the best education I possibly could.
Yes. Okay.
And unfortunately, I ended up, fortunately, unfortunately, however you want to put it, I ended up in an art school that was predominantly white kids from middle school to high school.
Okay.
And I feel like I kind of got deemed just being a bad kid. I mean, I definitely probably did some naughty things, but as an adult, I look at it and I'm like, I wasn't that bad. You know, I could have been a lot worse.
You were a kid.
I was a kid, yeah.
You were in fucking middle school and a high schooler. That's what you're supposed to be.
Yeah, no, yeah. And so...
No, wait. Tell me, what were you doing?
You know...
Because I have a 14-year-old.
Yeah.
So and I was a wild and crazy girl back in my day.
You know, I was smoking a lot of weed. I was doing a lot of drinking. I would say doing all the normal things that teenagers do. You know, and luckily I ended up coming out on the other end, which is fortunate. You know, some of us don't, unfortunately.
Exactly.
But as I got older, I just continued. I was really into metal when I was younger and punk and
oh my God, yes, another punk rocker. I have so many Indigenous punk baddies on this show.
Yeah.
And every time I'm like, thank you. I feel it's so important for you to be a punk rocker when you're young.
You know, I was that girl at the metal show, at the punk show, shaking my ass. You know what I mean? Everyone would be like, "What is this bitch doing?"
Yes.
It's you know what I'm doing. Don't lie.
And you know you want.
Yeah, no. I was
also.
I was a skater, and I grew up around a lot of really rambunctious, really rowdy, kind of thuggy ass people, and I think just because of that, I wasn't, you know, your teacher's pet. I wasn't ever since I was really started coming into my adolescence, I really decided that I wanted to go against the grain. And I realized that
because the grain is just not right.
Well, and I realized it was damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So I may as well have fun because at the end of the day, I don't fit in with white culture.
Yeah.
No matter what I do, I'll never fit in with white culture.
Yes. And you
And
were at like a predominantly white like institution.
yeah,
So
yeah. I was literally one of maybe 3 native folks in the entire school. And once my sister left, I was half the native population,
yeah.
right? And so yeah, like I quickly realized like you're not white, you know? And so I just realized like, you know, even if I do try to fit in, right? I'm still not going to fit in.
Yeah.
And even if I do everything wrong, oops, I'm still going to be in the same boat. So may as well be a rebel and may as well like fight the system. And what I
Lean
ultimately,
into the rebellion.
yeah, well,
Yeah.
and ultimately, like I come from a family of resistance, right? Like it's like I kind of realized like I was really just an extension of what my mother and
Yes.
father, my grandfather, my
Yes.
grandmothers, my aunties, uncles, they had all been doing. You know, maybe it was in a different way. You know, I was expressing it. Probably not in the way, probably in the way they did do it. What am I saying? Like, you know, like I was just an
Exactly.
extension of what had already been. And so, like, I have a lot of friends now who it's so funny because they're like, you know, when we were younger, we used to be like, oh my God, Tomas. And we're older now and we're like, no, like, this is it. Like, we
Yes.
should be fighting these things. We should be speaking up. We should be teaching our kids to say no and to question authority and to
Yep.
walk away from things that they don't agree with, right? And back
Yes.
then, you know, she's a little bit older. She looks very young, but she's a little bit older. Like, I feel
Tea.
like it, like, like kids who resisted the dominant culture were often labeled bad kids, right? And so growing
Yeah.
up, I figured I was a bad kid when really I was just a product of my environment, right? Like I come from resistance. We come from people who
Yes.
are like, we're not going to support and uplift the predominant culture. We're going to question things. And even like I look at these younger folks and I'm like, wow, like they are an extension of what we did, you know? And like
Yes.
I love it because I'm seeing them not only question like white culture, but also question things in our own culture, question things
Yes.
that we do as Native people, as Black and Indigenous
Yes.
people, right? Like, and that is where, to me, I realize that's where a lot of our power really is going to come from when we're able to talk about the things that are holding us back, all of us that are
Yeah.
holding everyone down, and ultimately dissecting those things and weeding out the shit that is like not going to take us forward. So, I once I got into college, I you know, started going to the clubs. I started
And this is
partying
still
more.
in
This is
Denver.
still in
Okay.
Denver,
Okay.
yeah.
Cute.
And I actually became a go-go dancer.
Love.
Yeah, so I was a part of a group called Tantalize, Dance Your Ass Off, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Yes. Because if you're
And
going to the club, you might as well be making some
well, the
money.
crazy thing actually was that I wasn't go-go dancing at the clubs. I would occasionally, but truthfully, in gay culture, like the people who become go-go dancers are usually more of like the typical buff, ripped man
Straight
who's very
men.
cis man. Yeah,
Yeah.
like that's kind of what they look for, and I've never fit that either.
Yeah.
But I actually came into dancing at a lot of the raves and a lot of the EDM shows, and which is a really interesting place to like become a go-go dancer as a male, like, or as someone who doesn't have a pair of tits, for
Yeah.
lack of better words. And like, but I ended up finding a lot of acceptance in that community, which sent me farther down the baddie road. And
Yes.
yeah, I quickly
She was
realized,
embraced.
well, that's when I really realized the power of like your of nudity and like the power of
Yes. Your
sexuality. Yes, your body,
body.
right?
Yes.
Bari ari ari.
Bariari.
Like, you know, and I just I saw so much power in like, okay, present yourself as you are, be yourself
Yes.
and love yourself, and that will
Yes.
take you so far. And
I think punk rock helps us with that, don't you? Like, because it's just a bunch of people being like, fuck the system, fuck patriarchy, fuck the system, the colonial ideas of beauty, right? The European standard of beauty. It was like, fuck that, fuck. And I think through that, you become empowered in a way.
yeah.
You become more secure of yourself because you're like, I'm not living by those standards. I'm living by my own standards and whatever maybe, people punk culture gets into its own thing.
Yeah.
But through that, it's empowering. That's why I'm like, I love when I hear people were punk rockers because it is such an important thing. in your adolescence.
Yeah.
And you find these like channels, and you're going out, you're going to shows, you're getting exposed to music and dangerous things, and you might get hurt, and
Yeah.
like there's a lot that goes into it. But I love the punk rock resistance. It's so Indian too. It's
Yeah.
so like it's just like within us. It's in us, and if we allow ourselves to go down that road, it's very, very cool.
No, rage is a powerful thing,
Yes.
like express.
And metal too, right?
Yeah,
There's
like
this,
learning how to express your anger, and like
Yes.
learning that anger is a part of life is so
Yes.
important. I feel like punk rock, metal, a lot of
Necessity.
these like
Yeah.
countercultures, like there's like people on the outside looking in might be a little bit like turned off by it, but
Yeah.
you have to understand like being angry
Yes.
is important.
Just
Like,
as important as being happy.
as being happy,
It's the
just
balance.
being sad is just as important. It's all a part of life, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that like it's so funny because someone was even like, "Oh, we love your stack, we love your rings," and they were like, "Where did you get your rings?" I started telling them the story, and I was like, "You know what? I started wearing rings actually because I was a little street kid and I used to fight a lot, and I'm tiny as fuck, you know what I mean?
Yep.
And so I was like, so if I'm gonna wear rings, I'm gonna punch someone hard, you know what I mean? And like,
This will help me.
people quickly stopped fucking with me after that, you know, and I will say that, yeah. How to
I feel naked. I have no jewelry. I have like one necklace on today. I forgot all my rings. So
No, I have
you're
my
making up
rings.
for me for my. I need to borrow.
I even
some.
have like double rings.
I'm
on,
like living.
yeah.
No, I literally have. I always have like a little, and I'm like, oh my god.
No,
I have nothing on. Today.
I'm like turning into like
I love.
Yes, I'm like turning into the auntie I always knew I'd be.
Yes.
You know.
Yes. We love that.
Yeah, a few years ago, I went on this like big thing of like I only want to buy real jewelry because for a long time I did a lot of costume jewelry.
Yeah.
Because that's what I could afford.
Of course.
But then I realized, girl, all these jewelry's in the thrift stores.
Yes.
You can go get it at a much more affordable price. And I just started investing in like buying real silver, real stuff like that. So yeah, this is like
I love
years in the making. So I'm very happy with that.
Gorgeous.
But what really solidified, sorry, back to full circle.
Sorry.
LANDBACK BADDIE. I actually ended up, in 2016, a group of young folks ran from North Dakota to Washington, D.C. to, at the time, tell President Obama that to honor his word and protect them and stop construction of the Dakota Access Pipeline.
I remember this.
Yeah. And some of those young people were like my cousins. They were folks who...
and where are you from? Where are your people from?
So my people are from, as my grandpa calls it, Old Mexico, and they're also from South Dakota. So there's Chichangu, Lakota, and then I'm Chicano. So yeah, I honor both my northern and southern indigenous identities, and then the Chicano identity also honors like the fact that like we also have an American identity, right? Like there's really, for a lot of folks, there's no really escaping that Western side of what we are. It's very instilled in who we are, and there's a whole conversation there, of course, that we could dive into. But
yes,
I identify primarily as Chicano.
Yeah,
my parents were really integral and important members of the Chicano and American Indian rights movement.
Yes.
They in the 60s and 70s, my mom actually attended the Crusade for Justice, led by Corky Gonzalez.
Yes.
Yeah. So I was growing up. I was raised around, Corky Gonzalez, Leonard Crodog, Casey Camp, Russell Means, like all of these folks.
Casey Camp.
That's my grandma.
That's all our grandma.
Yeah.
Like,
that scene in Res Dogs where she's like, "But I'm not your grandson," and she's like, "Of course you are, even if you're not." That is literally who she is. Like that is like
as a person.
That was like one of the most real and most beautiful like homages to who she is as a person, because she really wasn't acting. That is genuinely who she is and what she believes. And so I grew up listening to these amazing
oh my God, love.
I mean,
so how could you not become a punk rocker
how could I
after
not?
that?
How could I not become
it.
the LANDBACK BADDIE? Right? Everything was just leading towards this. This like.
I live.
And so after everybody was going to Standing Rock, all my cousins were like, "You need to come. You need to come." I finally gave in. I had just graduated from college.
Okay.
And I was working at the time at American Apparel. And
oh
I
my
was
God, R.I.P.
I know, but also
iconic, but also
problematic.
Right?
Yeah, like I was
girl. American Apparel was that girl,
that creepy guy. I forget his name.
But the guy was fucking
creepy as fuck.
Yeah.
Yes, no, he was super weird. Anyway, I don't want to make this about him at all.
But
yeah. So I remember literally one of my cousins was like, "You should come," and I was like, I can't have a job. And she was like,
Yeah.
what are you doing? And I was like, selling clothes to people. And she was
Yes.
like, okay, bitch, well, we're fighting a pipeline. Like, we're trying to, like, free the people.
Work.
We're trying to
Yeah.
protect the water. Like,
Yes.
you gotta come. So I finally gave in. I ended up going and I ended up joining a group called the International Indigenous Youth Council and really became one of many founding members of that group. And
Work.
I ended up after after Standing Rock, the fight, it kind of spread out, right? A lot
Yeah.
of us were not from Standing Rock, and like I quickly realized, like, this fight against these oil industries, this fight against these extractive industries isn't just in Standing Rock. Like, I come from a community that is home of, unfortunately, to the Suncor refinery, which is one of the largest refineries in the US. And I realized quickly, like, I remember growing up and thinking it was an electrical plant and realizing, like, oh, no, no, no. Like, this is an oil refinery. And my
Yeah.
people have been trying to fight this refinery since the 70s. And it has completely poisoned our water, our air, the land, and the people, right? And so
Yes.
each one of us who would come from different communities realized, like, the fight in Standing Rock is so much bigger than just Standing Rock for some of us. And when they asked, a lot of folks went home, we realized that we couldn't just stop, right? Like, a lot of these young folks learned so much in Standing Rock and from the Standing Rock community and from the fights that we were in, that we took those lessons and that knowledge back home and continued those fights back
Yes.
where we were from. And that's when I really got catapulted, like, into the world of, like, at the time, what was to me what I call like a fetishization of youth activism. Like, I don't know if you remember, for a few years it was all about the youth
Right.
activists, right? And I was still in that realm of like youth. And I started traveling to different places and learning more about the different fights that were happening all around, right? Like,
Yeah.
wasn't just anymore about Standing Rock. It wasn't just about KXL. It wasn't just about the Suncor refinery, right? It started becoming like realizing that all of these fights were so intertwined. They, like, one thing
Yes.
got approved, which is approved the next thing, which allowed this fight to
Mm-hmm.
happen, and this fight started happening, and all of these things were so interconnected. And I realized, like, that's when I started realizing, oh my God, my whole life is like leading towards this point, right? And like,
Yes.
maybe I wasn't a bad kid. Like,
Yeah.
maybe I was exactly who I needed to be. And because of that, I need to lean into this like baddie. I'm also a product of the Bad Girls Club,
Okay, wait,
So,
hold on. I was gonna wait. So
bad girls, you think you're so tough? Don't you wish you
wait,
could roll with
but
us?
Natalie Nunn forever. Are you a fan of baddies?
I'm a huge fan of baddies.
Like Zeus baddies, like right now.
So I'm a
Like
huge fan
baddies
of
in
baddies.
Africa.
I'm also a huge critic of baddies.
Yes.
Because I don't know that it is the best for the
It
culture.
is not the best, but oh my god.
So
Oh
good.
my gosh.
I know. I'm addicted to trash TV.
I just hope Lemuel is really that Lemmy from that owns Zeus is
Lemon
is,
pepper.
Lemon. You already know. I don't have to tell you. Okay, you know the lingo.
No,
You
I
know.
do. I do know. I agree,
Just,
honestly. I mean, so I don't know if you remember in Bad Girls Club, but they used to, at one season, they brought in a therapist. And
yes.
people didn't like it. Like, people,
Of
I think the
course
ratings,
not.
like, people were, like, not into it. And so because of that, I doubt that they will actually do, like,
I don't want them to bring a therapist in because right now it's giving WWE.
no, it's totally the new
literally
WWE. Like,
right? I
yeah.
just talked to my boyfriend. I'm like, this is giving like it's the WWE, but baddies.
Yeah.
Like, which I'm obsessed with and I love. And they can't all fight. They're horrible. They're
No,
so bad.
I watch most of these girls. I'm like, do you even
They
know? Like,
don't, it's like except for like Tasiki, and then there's another one that's like
there's a few of
there's
them that have
another one
joined.
that kind
Tasiki
of
can
can
fight.
be-
Krishan can fight.
well, yes.
I mean, they come from the same blood, so
Yes.
yeah. Like,
but yeah.
yeah. I mean,
Anyway, we laugh.
yeah. Some of them are really dope, but I agree. I'm a huge fan. I'm also a huge critic. I've
Yeah.
loved Natalie since Bad Girls Club. Like,
Yeah.
honestly, she really was for a long time one of my favorite baddies. Like, I just loved her. I
Yes.
thought she was so dope. Her evolution is a little. Sometimes I swear to God, I'm like, are you the same person? I'm like, did they switch you out with someone else?
I
Because sometimes, like, I like
know.
see the change in her, and I'm like, I mean, glow up for sure, like baddie for sure. But
Yes.
sometimes I'd be like, wait,
Right. Did
like,
they switch? No.
like, did
It's
the aliens
just-
get to her too? You know what I mean?
Okay, so now the land back baddie has even more significance because you are a Bad Girls Club member. So
Yes.
this ties into the origin story.
Yeah, well, you know what I finally realized was like I feel like for a long time, and I love talking about this because I feel like this is really a big part of my platform, and like is that I tried to be the image of what people expect native people to be, right? Like
Yes.
I tried to be very prayerful and say everything right and try to do everything and like open with the prayer and you
And
know and
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
bless everybody
The
and like you know
acknowledgments
the
and the
acknowledgments and like gotta know how to speak your language and like those are all great
yeah,
things and those are a
they
part
are.
of being native. I'm not trying to knock anybody, but what I realized is even in me trying so hard to be like this perfect native, people were still talking shit. People were still fucking had shit
And
to say
did
and
and
did talk
will.
shit and will continue to talk shit. And I was like, you know what? At the end of the day, all I'm doing by trying to act like this perfect native is setting myself up for a really difficult fall. Because at the end of the day, we're all human. We all do shit that is not going to be that can get you canceled. I don't give a fuck. You could be the
Yes.
best person in the world. You could be the most prayerful person in the world. You still make mistakes. And when you build yourself up to be this perfect, I hate to say, but in what I saw, I like tried to be like almost holier than thou, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
I was setting myself so when people found out who I was and where I came from, they were going to be like, you lied to us, right? So I was like, I need to stop this. I need to start presenting myself
Yes.
authentically and be okay with the fact that I come from this,
Like
that I've
you're like, are you like you were suppressing the rave go whore?
yeah, the rave go go like slut girl, party girl, like you know,
Yes.
punk
Right. Because
rocker,
you're like, no,
skater.
I'm like, yeah.
I'm you know I'm peace
Yes.
and prayer
Yes.
and I am peaceful. I am
Yes. You
prayerful.
are.
I
You
am
can be
all of
all
those
these
things, but I'm
things.
also a baddie. And I was like, you know
Yes.
what? I need to start expressing that more. And I need to be okay with the fact that I love fashion. I need to be okay with the fact that I love showing my belly. I love a little thong moment. I love a nice little,
Yes.
I love doing my hair in different ways. I love makeup. And there were so many young people around me that felt the same way. And
Yes.
when we would step
Because
in,
again, we are not a monolith. We all do not look the same.
we don't.
We're all different. We don't all have, just the same look or wear the same jewelry or like this holier than thou. Like we
And
can look however we want. We don't have to fit into the stereotype, which I feel like when you're young, sometimes you feel like, oh, I'm supposed to be that, especially when you grow up around white people.
yes.
Right?
Yes.
So anyway, I'm
To make
sorry. I
well,
just
no, because it's. I mean, even like this, like, like I would always. There were times when it was like, they were like, "Oh, if you can wear your regalia," I. Gonna be truthfully honest, I don't even have regalia.
yeah.
Like the regalia that I have is like a red piece of cloth with no shirt, and like I wouldn't really wear that out. Like I'm like my regalia is not what you think it is,
Yeah.
and realistically, it's like my regalia doesn't make me who I am. And truthfully, most of these native young people in these communities, they don't have regalia. They don't have
Yes.
access to it. They don't powwow dance. They don't know
Yes.
they don't know how to speak their language. They don't necessarily know all the songs. Does that mean they don't want to be a part of this? Not necessarily. It means that they didn't
Exactly.
necessarily grow up with the privilege of having access to those things. And that
Period.
unfortunately is majority of these native young
Yes.
people. But what society likes to do is they like to pick the ones, right? The ones who do have access and they put them
Mm-hmm.
in these places and they build them up and they kind of leave the rest to just figure it out on their own.
Yes.
And I was like, you know what? I'm ending up in these spaces where I'm able to have a platform. I need to, instead of representing the few, I need to represent the people that are around me, the people that I know. And the truth is that a lot of my cousins, they're gangbangers. They've done
Yeah.
drugs. They're struggling with
A
addiction.
lot
They
of
are
our
yeah, like
cousins.
their hood
Yeah.
is shit. Like I'm
Yeah.
like, you know, like they're like this whole thing that like native people are these prayerful people wearing regalia and so stoic, spiritual. Like,
Spiritual.
yeah, it is true, but
It
also
is.
you're cutting out a huge part of who we are. And if you don't see us in our fullness, then you're not seeing us. You are actively erasing us. And so where the name
Period.
actually came from is I remember one of my homies had it in their bio that they're a
Yes.
land back baddie, and I wrote them and I was like, That's cute. I was like, I
Yes.
like that. I feel like that's gonna attract all the boys. Can I use that? And I ended up, I was just like,
Yes.
wait. I went and I looked. I was like, is anyone else the land back baddie? And no one had it. And
It
I
was
just,
meant to
it
be.
was meant to be,
It was meant
right?
to be.
And I was like, I'm gonna take it while it's hot, you know. And it just ended up it really allowing me to lean into the realistic side of who I am. You know, I think a lot of
Yes.
people sometimes think that um, like land back baddie is a bit of a character. The truth is that the land back baddie is me. Like what you see is what you get. Like I'm the same person online that I am in real life, and I really, once I started leaning into who I actually am and presenting an authentic um representation of where I come from, that's when people started following me. That's when people started really
Yes.
listening to me. That's when people really began, like wanting to hear more from me. Whereas when I
Yes.
was, not to say that it was fake, but when I was kind of giving a more repressed side of who I am, people, I feel like without people even realizing, they picked up on it. Like they realized that it
Yes.
really wasn't one
Authentic.
authentic as I can be. And so that is really how the Land Back Baddie was birthed. It was birthed in me leaning into who I truly am and being okay with the really great things about who I am, but also the things that people may not necessarily see as like the best ever. But regardless, that's who I am. I am both light and dark. I cannot enter any spaces without having, you don't get one or the other. You have to have both. And so that's how the Land Back Baddie was
Yes.
really born, is just out of authenticity and me really leaning into who I am and finding power in the mistakes
Yes.
that I've made and the mistakes that I will make in the future, right? Like I'm
Yes.
not perfect. I'll never be perfect. And I don't want to be perfect.
Nobody likes
No,
perfection.
no.
Nobody loves a genius, right? Nobody we don't care about perfection. You are followed, you have tons of followers because you're authentic. You're gorge
Thank you.
too. And there are so many of us in the world that um hear you and see you in themselves, right? Like you're like, "Oh, yes, this is why." Like when we clicked the other night, I was like, "Oh my god, yeah. Like I need you. This is like we sh- kind of share the same language, or we speak the same language
Yeah.
in certain terms and in culture." Because there's some certain people that you can't really talk to a certain way. Like with you, I know I can come in and be like Natalie Nunn,
Yeah.
baddies at the end of the day,
Yeah.
catch this fade. You know what I'm going to talk about. So there are, again, so many things based on stereotype, and you're breaking those stereotypes, and that's why you're amazing and people love you.
Thank you.
Um, Land back, baddie. What are some of the things, like the content that you create? Um, what are you trying to send out as a message on your platform? Specifically, why is it important? Why is lamb back important for people that don't understand? Why should we give the land back?
Yeah. Well, I
Why
mean,
should we get our land back?
well, I think first I like to talk about like what land back means to me, because
Yes.
ultimately land back means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. And the way that we see things like the land back movement is so subjective, right? Like I know some people that think land back is like kick all the white people off and we're going to take that shit back.
Right.
Some people see land back as like, how do we coexist with the people who are
Yeah.
here? For me, land back is it is about reclaiming our land. It is about being the stewards of our land. It is also about actually being seen and listened to when it comes to the future of living on the land, right? Like we know what's best for the land. We know that fracking all throughout the Front Range in Colorado is going to poison the water tables, and we've known that for since they first proposed these things to us. Like, and if they would have listened to us to begin with, we wouldn't be in these situations. And people are often think, well, wouldn't that have like stopped progress? No, it would have progressed us even farther, because we would be doing things in a way that was healthy for the land, for the people. But for me, land back is also very much so about reclaiming our bodies. I feel like that's something that people, for like, they don't talk about a whole lot. I feel people separate who we are as people from the land, when really we are the land is us. That's why we
Yes.
fight for these things. We're not just fighting for, like, you know, this earth, the dirt, like we are, but we're also fighting for our people when we fight for the earth. And that is what I learned from a lot of these fights, from Standing Rock, from the fight in Mauna Kea, from the different, these, all of these different places, is the indigenous people see themselves as extensions of the earth. So for me, when growing up, like being a go-go dancer, being objectified by men, by the white gaze, right? I realized that there was
Yes.
so much that was like, I want to reclaim my bodily autonomy. I want young people to see people reclaiming their bodily autonomy. I also realized that, like, you know, growing up, I didn't have many, if any, queer, trans, like, elders. A lot of the queer and trans folks in our community were very withdrawn, were very secretive, you know, like they didn't feel like they had the protection to stand out in this way. And so for me, it's like reclaiming
Right.
that, right? Reclaiming our power as queer and trans folks, reclaiming our position in society. And that to me is just as much a part of the land back movement as you know, stopping pipelines, as
Yes.
protecting our waterways, right? Like I feel like we like the missing and murdered indigenous women and relatives movement is a land back movement, right? We're
Yes.
reclaiming our right to protect some of the most vulnerable people in our communities, the most targeted people in our communities.
Yes.
And so for me, I'm really big on that, right? And really showing people that, like, I am a I am a queer, gender fluid person. I'm very femme, right? Like I don't necessarily fit into the box of what Indigenous men are. I don't necessarily
Talk
fit into
about
the
it.
box of what Indigenous women are, but I still deserve to be respected. I still deserve
Yes.
to be seen. And I'm not going to let anybody, native, non native, male, female, anything in between, stop me from doing that. And I'm not just doing that for myself. Of course, I do it for, you know,
Of
me,
course.
but I'm doing this because I've seen so many young people around me constantly be silenced and constantly be
Mm-hmm.
told that if they don't fit into this box, then just go away. And
Mm-hmm.
these young people feel that. Whether
Mm-hmm.
you say that to them or not, they hear and they see
Oh my
what people
God.
are
You know when you're
doing to
young
them.
growing up, you know when you're like a weirdo kid, like you're not the same as everyone.
Girl, and these
You
kids are
know
queer as
that.
shit. I'm sorry.
And
Like gay as
honey,
fuck.
okay, especially in our communities
Yes.
too. Like
Yes.
we have to foster them and encourage them, you know, being from like the South, like the Bible Belt. Like you see these beautiful little babies who because of religion can't be their true self like in
Yeah.
front of their family.
Yeah.
Some totally, which they're very lucky and fortunate. But others aren't because of, you know, fucking religion.
Yeah.
And so I feel like if they can get on their phones, they can see people like you out in the world, it gives them like hope, right?
Yeah.
That's why I think technology is so amazing. It's you know, it's nuanced. It's fucking horrible, but it's also amazing because you see there's a light. You see something else that's happening not in your like little small town in Oklahoma or Texas or Kansas. You're
Yes.
like, "Wait a minute." You know, for me back in my day, it was magazines, right?
Yeah.
I got to see the club culture in New York in the 90s, and I was doing those looks in Wichita, Kansas. That was like our Wi-Fi. That was our internet. Our, you know, was paper magazine. We would see like, oh my God, the Palladium, people throwing parties, Michael Alley. Like we were like, you know, emulating these things.
Yeah.
And so yes, it's so important.
It's so important.
Because there's these little babies out there that need us.
And I really saw that when I was in Standing Rock. I remember
Yeah.
when I first went to Standing Rock, um, you know, like I just graduated from college. Like I said, I was like super queer, very out there. Like
Where
that's
did
when
you go to school?
I went to Denver School of the Arts for middle and high school. And
Okay.
then from there I was like, I don't want to be special anymore. So I went to Metro State University of Denver, which
Work.
is a commuter college, which has
Work.
3 different campuses on one urban like campus. It's really dope. Like honestly, I highly shout out to my alma mater. Like I really
I love that.
super diverse. Really, you have everybody there. You have rich, you have poor, you have black, you have
Love.
brown, everything in between, all the genders. It was a
we
really
love.
great place. A little disappointed in them on their lack of support for the Palestinian youth movement. But, you know, we could talk about that later. But yeah, I went there and when I went to Standing Rock, I remember like sitting in this room full of young people and I was like, so who's gay?
Yes.
And it was like, everyone
God.
was like, and I was like, no one? Okay. Okay, well, just so you know, it's okay if any of y'all are gay. Like, I'm gay as shit. So, like, you know, totally just being myself. As when Cardi B was really blowing up. So I was like, hey, you know, just a regular, girl from Denver. Like, and then I remember literally shortly after that, it was like, oh, this person is dating that person, and this person is
You
queer.
were getting
and
tea.
And it was like all of a sudden they realized once, and I'm not gonna just give this to myself, but once they started seeing that there were older queer folks and that they could be safe around these queer folks,
like a
they literally started just being themselves and coming out and feeling more comfortable saying these things. And we quickly realized like this entire youth council was
y'all's gay.
Gay as shit. That's it. And I clocked that tea before y'all even told me. Like I was like, you didn't even need to say anything to me for me to know that. Like I know my babies. Like I know my babies, and I just saw so much of myself in these young people, right? That I was like, you know, it is what it is, and also like you can be confident in the world and just be ready because everyone has some shit to say. They're gonna say it, and you need to just stand in your power and know that you're loved, know that you're protected. Even if, like, you know, maybe your mom may not in the moment. Well, mother loves you. I love you, right? Like, and you can walk confidently in this world knowing that you do have older people around you who will go to bats for you, who will stand behind you, who will stand next to you and have no problem with that. And so yeah, I'm really. I think
love that.
that's where a lot like a lot of my land back. I think my part of the movement really comes in. Yes, it has to do with the land, but it very much so has to do with reclaiming our autonomy and being proud of who we are. Whether that's queer, whether that's gay, whether that's lesbian, whether that's if you feel like you're cis, you know. However, I want people to know that we should be proud of who we are and we should be able to walk authentically in the world and tell the truth, right? Like I even tell a lot of reconnecting natives, and they're like, you know, I'm like, it's okay if you're reconnecting, but be honest, be real about who you are, about where you come from, because when you're honest and you're real, people can't pick it apart. They can say whatever they want, but they can't stop you because you're telling the truth. And when we can walk authentically in the world as ourselves, when you're doing that, then that's all you need.
Yeah. Just be authentic. I mean, sometimes it is the hardest thing in the world to be.
Yeah.
So it does, you know, take a lot sometimes. But you're such an inspiration for people to be authentic because look where you've come from. So wait. So you did the march. You went to DC. And then you went back to Denver.
So I actually didn't run with the young people to
run.
DC. I came after they
You're
made
like,
the
I
call.
took a plane.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I drove. Oh, we drove from Denver to North Dakota.
Yes.
And at first it was like, I literally remember my cousins were like, we're here, just come, like you can camp with us, like come for the weekend. And like what was supposed to be a weekend ended up turning into like 3 months, right?
And
like
so
it was
camped.
like, yeah, I camped. Yeah. And it was honestly, it was like the most fucking beautiful thing ever. Because
everyone that I've talked to that went told me that, and I remember looking up tickets because it was like from New York to go. I think you had to fly to Denver and then drive. It was like so hard to get to from New York.
Because like the
airport
is insane to fly into.
Yeah. So I remember being like, I think we all kind of felt this call to be like, we need to be there now. And I remember I couldn't figure out the timing with my work, just everything. And I'm like, you know, was like thinking of my daughter, like, do I bring her with me? Like her dad, like it was a moment. And I could feel that people were feeling, I was like, oh, so I love hearing people talk about it. It was like, one of the best experiences like they've ever had in their lives.
Yeah, I mean, it really solidified my identity as a member of the rebellion. You know,
Yes.
like it really
Yes.
and I also going, realized like I think for a long time I kind of tried to almost like run from that. Like I just wanted to be a go-go dancer. Like I just wanted to
Yeah.
be, just like leave me alone, but like going really made me realize like no, you're not escaping
There's more
this.
than that.
And also like this is an extension of what your parents and your grandparents and all of
Yeah.
your uncles and aunties and all of the people around you,
Yes.
this is what they've been leading you towards, right? Like, so
Yeah.
stop fighting it. Just lean
Yes.
into who you are. And yeah,
You
no,
can't.
you can't outrun, you can't escape it.
Yeah.
When you grow up listening to
I
Carter
mean,
Camp, Casey Camp, Russell Means, Leonard Crodog, like when you grow up with all of these men and women constantly telling you about the fight, it's going to be very difficult to escape that in every facet of your life.
exactly. And even if you weren't like listening, like you were listening, but maybe not 100, you're like, cool, cool. You're just around it.
Yes.
Subconsciously, that information is coming into your
Yes.
spirit, into your body. And I love how that works,
Yeah.
right? And you were like, I'm in my rave girl era, but then something else called you, like, let me go. And then it pulled you, and then you're like, wait, like it's like this room. And it kind of all of that information is kind of swirling within your DNA already.
Yeah.
And you're like, wait, I'm here. So you're like blossoming into Landback Baddie.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So Standing Rock kind of was like part of your origin story for
1000%.
Baddie.
1000%.
I knew that energy was there. And so
And what I
out of that-
learned from all of that was so important, right? Like I made a lot of mistakes being with the youth council, and I really learned yes, part of being a baddie is like, we know how to fight, we're willing to fight. But another thing that I learned from all of that
Period.
is knowing how to be gentle with people,
Yeah.
knowing when to walk away from things, knowing when to speak up and when, okay, I don't really need to comment on this, right? Like, and also just, I
Right.
realized if one of the biggest, I think, regrets from that time for me was not being more gentle with the people around me, but also being more gentle with myself. And I think
That comes with age.
it does, right?
Ooh.
I was like 23 when I went to Standing Rock,
You're
right?
like, that's
Yeah.
like in the epitome of everything.
Of
Burn
break
it down.
all,
Your
yes.
body, it doesn't matter. You don't have to sleep. You don't have to eat. You can do whatever.
Another club,
Yeah.
like yes,
Hotel, party,
Yeah.
after party. Yeah, it's that. It's
Yeah.
very that. So you're extra hard on yourself too because you become burnout.
Yes. And I burned out.
Right. And
yes.
then when you're younger too, you're just like, I am standing on this hill. This is how it is. And you don't have patience to kind of be quiet sometimes.
Yeah.
So you're just fucking talking all the time.
time.
I'm talking about myself. This is me.
Girl, I watched some of
Yeah.
these interviews from when I was younger, and I'm like, what the fuck did you
I
just
know,
say?
I
Like, I'm like, what? Oh my God, cringe. Like, cringe.
Yes,
Like,
23. And that's when we learn to forgive ourselves.
Yes.
We forgive others. Because when you realize, with age comes when you realize, oh my God, 23, but your brain is not even fully
Yeah.
formed.
No. Especially as like a male,
You're
it's
just
like,
you're 23. And so with age comes like grace, and it's like, oh, grace for yourself, grace for others. I'm like, oh, okay, I get they're 23.
Yeah.
I understand.
yeah, 1000%.
So I wanted to ask you, we're seeing more queer, Indigenous, Two-Spirit representation.
Yeah.
Right? We're seeing more. But I think we can see a lot more.
Yeah.
Honestly, for me, is there anything in Indigenous media specifically that you want to see happening? Or, what do you see in the future?
Yeah. I mean, I think one of the biggest, before I answer that, one of the
Yeah.
biggest issues of why I feel like a lot more queer and trans performers, content creators are stepping forward is because we're really realizing that whole thing, like, damned if we do, damned if we don't. So what I'm going to tell all of these young people out here is like, fuck what people think about you. you know, like they're gonna say shit and you have to just move forward in that regardless. And I think that that is what a lot of, and I feel like a lot of queer and trans creators, artists that I'm seeing, like that's what we're coming to. Is like
Yes.
honestly, like people, everyone has a fucking opinion, and at the end of the day, like it is not our job to tend to their insecurities. It is not our job to make sure that they're comfortable. It is our job to speak up when we must speak up. And so that's like kind of where I'll start
And
with.
know that people want to hear you.
Yes, people want to hear your perspective. We have
Yes.
such a unique perspective of being native and of your community. People want to hear what you have to say. Now, it's
Yes.
going to take you some time to learn how to refine that voice, but that will come as you continue. Like I try to tell people, like, I don't know who really needs to hear this, but like make that video, write that script, take that picture, post that selfie, just do it. And like, is it gonna be perfect when you're starting out? Probably not, but it's not about being perfect. It's about
Yeah.
presenting your perspective to the world. And your perspective will
Yes.
change as time goes on. Like,
Yes.
and it's okay to look back and say, you know what? I thought this at one point, but as I've gotten older, as time has gone by, as I've spoken to more people, I changed my mind. I believe something different now. Like your beliefs aren't always going to stay the same either. And so I think that that's like the first thing that I feel like a lot of us are really coming to the realization of is like we just have to do it. You just have to put
Yeah.
it out there. What do I see that I think needs to be um, addressed? One of the biggest things that I see really needs to be addressed is this division between northern and southern indigeneity. I
Yes.
really, you know, growing up Chicano, growing up with people who were um, so central to both the Chicano and American Indian movements. I don't think I ever really
You were, that's a, yeah, now that I know that about you, that's a very specific position to be in.
Yes. Yes, like knowing that
Yeah.
like my grandfather is Leonard Crodog, but also one of my grandfathers was like Jorge Gonzalez. Like these are
Yeah.
two
Yeah.
major like civil rights
Those, they
leaders.
were intertwined.
Yes,
Yeah, and
yes.
not so
And people don't realize how much these two movements came together, how much they worked together to get what they needed. And these
yes.
people believed in that unity, right? Like they're like my grandfather really, really, and you know, this made him infamous. People agree with him, people disagree with him. That one day people from all sides of the medicine wheel would look to our tree of life, that they would look towards these ways that have been here since time immemorial. And he didn't turn people away for being white. He didn't turn people
Yeah.
away for being black. He didn't turn people away for being Asian. He allowed people to come in because he believed that this chanupa, that these ways were meant for folks. And yes, there's a way to do them. There's a way to protect them. There's a way to make sure that they're not being right commodified and sold. But he didn't turn people away, and he didn't call people out. He called people in. So
Oh,
that's a very big part of
tea.
my, yeah, like my
Love.
upbringing. Like and I think that I didn't realize that there was such a division really until I came to New York. And when I came to New York, I think really what it is like there's so few spots and so many of us all trying to get to that spot that it's very competitive. And there's this huge division that I'm seeing of like, I mean, what I see is nationalism ultimately. It's like there's proximity to being American, therefore we are like above it almost. We feel like we're above. And a lot of the southern native folks who come here, right, like they don't know how, some of, not all of them, some of them don't know how to express the indigeneity in like the western ways, but also some of them are really just here trying to survive. So ultimately, like being indigenous and being able to participate in the like indigenous ways is really not an option for them because they have to work, they have to provide for their children, they
Yeah.
have to, all of their money is going back home,
I
right?
call that survival mode.
Survival
Like we
mode.
don't have time to be land back baddie, honey. I'm trying to like
And what a
work
privilege
like
it
three
is.
jobs to send home money to like, wherever.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And that divide to me is one of the most dangerous things I've seen in our communities. I mean, there are certain indigenous pages, that claim to speak for indigenous rights who mention nothing of Southern indigeneity, but will make a whole post about a white man coming to our event because they're famous. The way that we I'm sorry, but the way that we as Native folks in America treat white celebrities is abysmal in comparison to the way that we treat Southern natives, right? Like, why? I mean, let Shailene Woodley come to Standing Rock. Let Mark Ruffalo come. And granted, like, these people, they were helping us, but it's like, how are you going to treat these folks better than you treat the Mexican woman who is, like just working to be here? How are you going to tell that these Kuna people from Panama, which are so-called Panama, how are you going to tell them that they're not native? How are you going to look at these people and say, you don't have a tribal number, therefore you cannot claim the word native. You cannot claim the word indigeneity. You can't come to ceremony. But you're going to allow Shailene Woodley to march around Standing Rock with the turkey feather in her head. Like, it just doesn't make sense for me. You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand. Like, and I'm looking at this divide and I'm just like, this is why the government can easily round us all up and ship us to fucking these insane concentration camps. And then you're sitting there shocked when they look at your native ass and they say, we don't give a fuck, we're taking your ass too. Exactly. Don't be like, if you're gonna sit here and you're going to say that these people are not native and you're more native than them, don't be shocked when they turn around and say, well, you're not native either, we're sending you too. Like we are literally setting ourselves up to fall right into their trap when we do these things. And a lot of this has to do with colorism. It has a lot to do with privilege. It has a lot to do with protection and proximity to safety, right? Like, and I understand all of those things, but also I can't in my right mind see all of these things happening in our communities and not address them, not talk about them. Why is it that Black natives have to prove that they're native, but other natives don't, right? And natives who, quite frankly, and no shade, look very white and are very white passing, and they oftentimes don't have to prove their indigeneity. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. And we as Native people must address these issues. We have to address the anti-Blackness. We have to address the homophobia, the transphobia, the nationalism that we all partake in, right? Like, we have to address these issues in our own community if we expect to get anywhere with society. Like, and that goes back to the whole land back. Like, we are reclaiming ourselves. We have to talk about the issues before we can get the land back. Because if we just get the land back and reproduce recreate what already exists, we're going to do the exact same thing that this government is doing to us. We will just become what we hate so much. Yes. So it's like, let's talk about it. Let's acknowledge all of the anti-Blackness, the homophobia, the transphobia, the nationalism. Like, and if we're not willing to acknowledge those things, then you know what? Maybe we shouldn't be screaming land back, if I'm being completely honest. Like, those are all a part of the movement. And if you're not willing to acknowledge this, then don't expect to get this. They go hand in hand.
Period. I think you should be the president of all.
I need someone to clean up some of them ass pics off the line first. You know what I mean?
It doesn't matter in the future. I mean, look who we got, girl. Look who we got as our president.
That's real.
Do you think they care about your thong at
when
the rave?
I do it, yes, they care. But when they do it, not at all. You know what I mean? So, like, yeah. But I don't know. It's so funny that you say that, because my whole life people have always been like, oh, you would make a really good politician. Like, you would make a great lawyer.
Even writing out an outline, I don't know why I was just like, one of the questions, and I think I erased it, was like, would you ever run for office? It literally just came to me, and I don't know, I erased it because I was like, oh, girl, who cares about it? But hearing you talk, I'm like, wait, you're a politician, and not you're the Bernie of the politicians.
I'm the Bernie.
Which we love, because I'm like, I agree with everything you say, because I don't trust politicians. They're, crackheads. But you, yes. Like, I'm like, I will get behind you. I mean, at least mayor of New York. Like,
yeah, I mean, I don't know. I would really have to think about it. I believe that I really love being a part of community. Like, I don't necessarily need a title in order to be a community leader, And I feel like
think so many people like you too. They feel the same way.
Yeah.
We don't need that, like, ego thing of being the voted to be something.
Yeah.
Because the real prize is what you're doing is in community and creating your things. But I wanted to ask you, how did you get to New York? From all of this, you're Standing Rock,
Yeah,
da da
yeah.
da. How did you get here?
So New York has always been one of my favorite cities in the world. I can't quite say it's one of my favorite places in the world because most of my favorite places are not cities. They're like natural.
Yeah.
They're like they're the earth,
Yeah.
right? But it's always been, I think, my favorite city in the world. Ever since I
Yeah.
was young, I had a really great mentor bring me here when I was about 8. And when I was supposed to come for my first time, they actually ended up passing away the day before I was supposed to come here. And so the first time I ever came to New York was actually to bury one of my mentors. And
Are they from here?
they were from here. Their name was Sing Sai. They were one of the original creators of the iPod Mini. Remember the colorful iPods? Yeah,
Obsessed,
I was one of the
yes.
first young people, one of the first people in like the world to have the iPod Minis. Like they gave us prototypes
Oh
and they were
my
like, let us know how they work, like if you like them. And like, yeah, it was just an
living.
amazing person. Their mother was named Diana Khan. She was a famous painter, a water painter, and she took my mom under her wing as one of her students, and we just
Oh my
ended up
gosh.
ended my first time coming here. I completely fell in love with this city.
So you came at 8, you buried Sing,
Yes,
um, and you were like, wait a minute. Oh, did you feel it? Were
I
you like,
did. Oh, I totally
this is
did.
this is for me?
Loved it. I mean, saw it for the shit show that it was, and just was
Yeah.
like totally into it. I remember like the first time I even went to like Times Square, I was like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't like this part. You know what I mean?
Yes.
This is a little bit too crazy for me,
Yes.
but like I loved everything else about it. And so I always knew that like I wanted to be a part of this in some way. And so after Standing Rock, started taking different speaking gigs here. I started doing just different jobs here. And I would spend,
Nice.
a couple days, a week, this time here. And, uh, just really just knew that one day I wanted to live here. But the biggest issue with that was that I had a dog, and my dog was not he would not have done well here. And a lot of my life really centered around my best friend. He was my son. He was my brother. He was everything. My whole life revolved around my baby.
Oh,
Um,
what was his name?
his name was Balu.
Oh,
Yeah, and
Baloo.
he I actually, so I own my house in Denver still,
Okay.
and I bought my house
Work.
primarily for my dog because I lived in an apartment. I lived in downtown Denver for about 8 years, and it was just getting really hard on him to like take him up and down the stairs and like take him out and walk him, and so I bought the house for him. Um, and then in December of 2024, this past year, he made his journey and really
Oh,
just like broke my heart. I mean, can we talk about how they don't talk about how hard it is to lose a dog? Like, and I know it's hard to lose other animals as well, like, but I will say, like, cats, like, no offense, but like, they'd eat you if they could. Like, like, I had a cat, and my cat passed
love a
away,
cat.
wasn't even
Yeah.
half as sad as I was when my dog passed away because, like, the dogs rely on you.
Yeah.
Like you can't leave a dog home for 2 weeks, a week. Like cats,
Yeah.
you can usually leave them, have someone check on them every now and
Yeah. They're
then.
like,
They're
bitch, they're like, thank you.
go,
Please
whereas
stay gone.
dogs are like they need
Yeah.
you.
Like, they miss
They
you. They
miss
love
you. They love
you.
you. And that was like my whole world revolved around this dog. So when I lost my dog, I kind of went into like autopilot, and I knew that like the space that I was in was like tearing me apart. Right? Like my dog died in my home. He went naturally. He went in my arms, and it was very beautiful in the way he went. But being there and the constant reminder of being there was like too much on me. So I actually I the day before the insurrection, the day before Donald Trump took office, I left and I went to Atlanta. and I ended up in Atlanta. And I tell people like my dog died, and then a month later I woke up in Atlanta. That's kind of how like I tell everyone, because once I got out of where I was, my emotions kind of caught up with my body. Like everything caught up with myself, and I realized really quickly like, oh my God, I'm heartbroken. Like I'm
Yeah.
so sad. And um I had kind of had like booked this trip. I went from Atlanta and I was going to go to New York. And I ended up like basically moving to New York in February and just couch surfed for a few months. Like, yeah, for so many years, I had created so many really amazing relationships here with folks like, the Urban Indigenous Sutton at the Urban Indigenous Collective, with Karina and Leanna at Relative Arts, right? That I was like, all of these people have always been like, if you ever need a place to stay, I'm here. And I'm really typically not someone who asks for help. Like I'm usually someone in the past who kind of like, yeah, I'll come, but I can get a hotel and I'll feed myself, and
Yeah.
you don't have to worry about me.
Yeah.
Like not wanting to be a bother to
Yeah.
anybody, but
Or
always
vulnerable.
or vulnerable, but always down to show up for the people.
Yes.
And I realized like in that time was like, okay, yes, you're a bad bitch, but bad bitches need help too. It's okay to ask for help. It's
Oh
okay to
my
be
God.
sad. It's okay to
Yes.
not be,
Oh,
right, like the leader that everyone expects you to be. Like
yes.
you're not that right now. You're heartbroken. You're depressed. Like
Yeah.
you are anxious. You are transitioning into a new side of life, and you need to be okay with accepting the love and the help that you're so willing and ready to give everybody else at any time. So I leaned into those people,
Oh,
and I asked all of
amazing.
these people who were like, come, we got you. I was like, yo, I'm going to be honest. I'm super broken right now. I'm super sad. Can I stay on your couch for a week? Can I, and every single one of them were like, absolutely. You're more than welcome to stay here. And so many of my people rallied around me and really made sure that I had safety, that I was being fed, that I was being housed, that I had everything that I needed. And that was really like the beginning of like my healing journey. Like I kind of moved
Wow.
to New York on like the need to heal and accept the new person that I was becoming without my dog. And
Oh, and this
yeah,
was this year in
this was
February.
literally in February.
And did you
Like
drive to Atlanta?
I flew to Atlanta.
Okay, so you're
I
like,
stayed with my best friend
okay.
Searing, who I've been friends with since I was in
Oh,
sixth grade, and she was one of the major people who like really helped me to like. I mean, that's my sister really.
oh,
And
I
then
love.
from stayed there for about 2 weeks, and then from there went to New York, and like literally like freezing. It was fucking
Oh, in
freezing here.
February?
Oh my
Oh
god,
my God, it
like
was wild. Especially
wicked.
this last winter was so bad.
Everybody was like, this has been one of the coldest winters we've had
Coldest
in
and like the
years.
snowiest.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and I
Oh.
was staying like at one point I was staying in Bayonne, New Jersey. Like I was
Oh.
literally on like the last stop on the light rail and like
Yeah.
trying to figure that out at like I remember one night we left the club at like 3 a.m., got mixed up on my like train and didn't end up getting home until like 8 a.m. and just shivered in some heels on
No,
the fucking
not the
train.
pumps.
Girl,
Not the New Jersey
in a
Transit.
mean ass fucking pizza toe kitten heel. Like just like
Oh.
shivering my ass off. Like, what am I doing here? Like,
Oh, you
like,
learned real
oh, I
quick.
learned real quick. You
Oh,
pack a pair of
honey.
fucking, you
You
take
need
that.
some sweats. You need to like, especially for if it's like 10 degrees. Like, yeah, it's like, okay, that's cute. Your feet are going to, the toes are going to fall off.
Yeah,
Like, it's
yeah,
not a
no, it
cute
was
look.
insane. And like, go, it's a cute look, but it's like,
Girl, give the look.
yeah, but
But we need to like figure out how is the transportation? How are we getting home?
the sad thing is I totally know better, but I sometimes I'm just like, it's the look though,
Yeah, like
like,
I'm gonna serve this look all the way to
like
Bayonne.
at the
Girl,
Native Girls Book Club, I was wearing heels, suffered the whole night.
I know, but
Looked so
you looked so
cute. Looked so
cute.
cute.
Girl, okay, also there was no chairs. I was living
Oh, I found one. I was like,
there was a moment I feel like I saw you on a stool or something, but I was like, which I remember. I'm like, okay, this is like I'm getting a little exercise,
yeah,
but I remember like I did not sit that whole time, which was totally fine.
yeah,
But and I was living my best auntie moment with my little flowy dress and things,
yes,
and a
yes.
little pair of Crocs, so I cannot complain at all because I knew I was like, who knows, and yeah, I didn't say, and also I was just kikiing and talking.
No, for sure. It
But
was
for
a
the
cute
girlies who
event.
wear heels, I will always give you props
Yeah.
because I'm just not that girl.
Yeah.
I can't be that girl anymore.
Yeah, no,
Not that I ever
I love a nice
was.
heel. I do love a nice heel. And typically I'm down. I usually am really good at picking out comfortable heels. Those heels that night were they murdered me,
Oh,
honestly. Those were terrible. But yeah, no, I did New York in the winter, and
oh my
like everybody was
God.
like, "You're moving here." And I was like,
Am I moving
"Am I
here?
moving here?" And they're like, You moved." And I was like, "I moved." You know, like I just went with
Like,
it.
have you been back to Denver since?
Yeah, of
Oh,
course.
okay, I'm like,
Yeah. No,
wait.
no, I totally have. And like I honestly, I tell everyone's like, "So why are you here?" And I was like, I just caught the first wind and I'm letting it take me where I'm supposed to be." And like I remember being here and I was like trying to find places to live, and I was like, "Well, I'm probably going to end up maybe in like New Jersey or like Queens or the Bronx." Like I kind of like everyone always tells you, "Oh, it's so impossible to live in Manhattan, right? Like it's so
Right, so
expensive and
expensive.
like it's gonna be so hard. Like just don't think you're gonna be there." In Brooklyn, I mean, it's
She's
more
expensive
expensive to live in
too.
Brooklyn than it is to live in
Yeah.
Manhattan at this point.
Yeah.
Like it was insane, and I was like, I don't know where I'm going to live, and honestly just kind of said, "You know what? Creator's never done me wrong. Why would she do me wrong now? I'm just going to give it to her. Whatever happens,
Yes.
happens. If I end up going home, I end up going home. But I'm just going to ride this wave.
Yeah.
And whatever beach it takes me to is where I'll stay." So I ended up in Chinatown,
I
of
mean,
all
the
places.
greatest
Like,
place.
no, and like never in a million years did I expect to be there. Like, I really didn't. I'm right off of Bowery, like right next to Christie
Gorge.
Park. Like,
Oh my
it's
God,
like a
love.
huge change. And I remember really saying, like, I really want something different. Well, you got it, girl. You
Yeah.
wanted different, you got it. So be careful what you ask for
Yeah, you're in the
sometimes.
middle of
The
the whole.
madness. Yes,
Yeah.
I'm like in it. I'm in the heart of it, and it is so beautiful. It's been so life-changing, and I love it. I mean, if I give anybody, any young native or any young person who is looking to make a change or looking to move to New York, it's everyone's gonna have something to say about what it means
Yes.
to live here, and it's gonna be hard, and you're gonna be this, you're gonna be that. Just do it. Just if you feel called to be here, do it. What I would suggest first is make community before you come. Make sure that you have a support system that is going to actually care about you. Make sure you learn about the culture and the communities here, because there's so much going on, and there are communities who have been here who are fighting the fight to just exist here as well, right?
Yeah.
Like the land back movement exists outside of indigenous identities. There are
Yeah.
people here who are like, my people have lived on this block for
Yes.
generations, and now they're being forced out, right? So learn about those things. like
Yes.
like be come here and be a good relative, and part of being a good relative is making sure that you don't just come and add to the mess, but you come here and add to the community, right? Like be someone who doesn't just take but that gives. And really, like, I feel like one of the main reasons why I've been successful in my move is because of the people around me, because of
Yes.
the support that I have, because of the community that I have been working on for almost 10 years, to that I call family, that I can lean into. And ultimately, it's really easy to come here and become a part of the pop culture, or the transplant culture, which can be very toxic. It can be very
Very.
dangerous. And ultimately what I've kind of learned is like they don't really care about you. Like everybody in these like kind of like transplant communities is really trying to take care of themselves, and it's
Yeah.
so hard for them to also care about other
Because a
people.
lot of those transplants, come here for the dream, right?
Yes.
I came here for my dream. And then once especially those new transplants that are coming, not knowing about gentrification, not knowing that for years there have been people that were living in Williamsburg, Puerto Rican people,
In the
Dominican
Lower East Side,
people
yes.
that have been removed because of gentrification. You come here for your dream, and once, if you're lucky, you get that dream. And then for me, like when you discover that, and then you're like, oh, okay, cool, then you get into the real fabric of New York City, the beautiful ugliness that is New York,
Yeah.
because it is so beautiful and so fucking ugly
Yes.
and so tragic, and it's like the height of capitalism, right?
Yes.
It's like,
Yes.
all these fucking buildings, all these fucking people. We came here for a dream. What? To make money, because you make money, more money here than anywhere else in my field, being a celebrity hair person. Like, all of that, right? And then when you get older, of course, with age comes the wisdom. And then you find, like, okay, cool. I came to New York. I did my dream. But then what? And then I feel like that's when people kind of turn inward and be like, okay, how can I enhance this community that I've taken so much from?
Yes.
That I've you know, soared to new heights because I've lived in New York. And that's like the ultimate goal for, I believe, people to give back to New York, because it gives us all so much constantly. And New York is, I've said this so many times on this podcast, there is no place like it. It is beautiful and ugly, and you can have the most amazing, incredible nights of your life in New York.
Yeah.
Like, you can meet the most incredible people, you can make the most money. Shit just happens here because it is New York, and
Yeah.
that's why we're here a lot of times. But I love that we have to remember to give back to New York and to this energy that happens in New York.
And that's such an indigenous
Yeah,
framework,
outlook.
right? It's like,
Yeah,
this idea of like, you don't just take, you give, right?
yeah,
Like when you come to a new place, like, what are you leaving? And like,
yes,
sometimes I think people might even think like, I need to give something. Sometimes it's like, what are you putting out here? Like, do you pray for the people here? Do you
yeah,
pray for the communities here? Do you give the land water? Do you think about the land that's
yeah.
even here? Like, I feel like it's so easy to forget about
Oh,
the fact that there's actual nature in New York, right? Like, and
yes.
like the rocks that exist here, the trees that exist here, the animals that exist here, right? Like, we forget, like, that's all part of the community. And like, I
Yeah.
sometimes even think the people who are from here forget. It's so easy to forget about it because it's
Yes.
just not like, you go to Colorado, right? And the nature is just so obviously there, that you come here and it's easy to forget about
I
it,
say that
right?
so much on this podcast too, is like, when, also because I feel like the indigenous presence has been so far removed because of first contact here. Um, back home, like in Denver, like in Oklahoma, we're surrounded, right, by our nature, by our prairies, geographically. Um, we feel that. We feel our indigeneity all around us. I do when I go home.
Yeah.
And then here, it's so zapped out sometimes.
Yes.
As far as geography, right? It's concrete, blah blah blah. You're lucky, like where I lived in Bushwick, to have a tree, right?
Yeah.
I feel like New York has tried to, it's popular right now for our land
Yeah.
acknowledgements. And sometimes it's like fake and it's not authentic. And I feel like a lot of us can see that.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, cool. Like,
I really don't even do land acknowledgments anymore, if I'm being honest. Like, I just tell them, like, you need to find someone who's local to the community. And it's so crazy how many times they will reach out and be like, we don't know anybody. And I'm like, oh, then that's a you thing. Like, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to help you with that. Like,
yeah, I recently had the situation yeah. And I
yeah.
was like, I think you need to, I'm not the one.
Yeah.
Or
Like,
the two. Not to be mean, but it's just kind of
now
like,
fuck that. I'll be mean. That What the
like,
fuck's wrong with you? There are so many Native people around me, and you're really going to tell me that you don't know any of them?
you know what? They don't. They don't. Like, there are people in this state, they really don't know.
Any Native
It
people.
is,
Yeah.
it's wild because I deal with so many non-natives. We're if you weren't raised around us, if you're in New York, it has, like I said, the indigenous presence here has been so removed from the schools.
Yeah.
Even their curriculum is so tired and based on stereotypes. I was just talking to Leanna about, my daughter and her school Google slides. One of the slides is like the end of the Plains Indians. Like, my daughter will send me screenshots, like, girl, and I'm like, girl. I'm like, well, obviously, that's not true. And her teacher making jokes about her living in a teepee, like, the craziness. I have another story. When I was an assistant at Bumble and Bumble, I was blowing out a woman. she was asking me my tea, like, oh, where are you from? Blah, blah, blah. I'm from here, I'm Oklahoma, blah, blah, blah. I'm Osage. She's like, oh, what's that? I was like, oh, it's my tribe. That's like where I'm from. You know, that's like my people. She's a teacher on Staten Island. So there's that. But a teacher who teaches the youth in Staten Island, she asked me, oh, what is a tribe? Like, for me to hear that, and I was in my 20s, is like, whoa, that like was like people here really have no idea about what it is that we are a part of at
Yeah.
all. To ask what a tribe is and you are a teacher, that was wild to me. So there's like that perspective of like people really, so they're just kind of like, can you do anything? Like you're native, right? You're Indian, right? Can you just do, it's giving that sometimes.
Well, and it's like as you make your way more southwest, it's like indigenous culture. It's kind of it's like a part. It is the culture. Like it's like
That's what I'm like, you're surrounded by it.
Yeah, yeah.
I keep saying that because when, you know, just being back home, like it's like, oh, yes, of course. Everyone's going to know what I'm talking about if I say I want, you know, grape dumplings or an Indian taco or, you know.
Yeah. I mean, literally in Denver, they're home of Tokabe, which is like the
Yeah,
first,
Osage,
like,
yeah.
it's like the first, like,
We have a
native fast food restaurant. And they're
Yes.
so amazing, too. Like,
Yes.
great people, help the community so much. Like, they're not just a business. Like, they actually care about the communities that they're in. They help them. They support them. They provide the things that you do as a good relative. But it's like that. I think what leads to that, too, is this is why it's so dangerous for us to box ourselves into one thing, right?
Yes.
Like this is why, because one of the biggest issues that I see in our communities is it's so easy for folks to dehumanize us. It's so easy for them to dehumanize us because we're only seen as that spiritual, prayerful native. And it's like,
and that we might not even exist anymore.
Exactly.
Like, some
And
people don't even know that we fucking exist.
But it's easy to do that when you don't see us as human.
Yes.
And everything that it means to be human, right? That we can be peaceful, we can be angry, we can be we have substance issues, we have we have educated people, we have non-educated people, we have rich people, we have houseless people, we have everything in between, right? But people don't understand that, and that's so intentional because when you do that to people, it's easier to dehumanize them, and it's easier to then erase them from the equation. All of it's intentional. I also try to tell people this. I'm like, you realize that us being pit against each other, like Black and Native communities being pit against each other, Northern and Southern Native communities being pit against each other, urban and urban and rural communities being pit against each other. Like those, all of that is intentional because when we're busy fighting each other, it's easier for them to dehumanize and erase us, and it's working. Look how easy it has been for them to erase us from the equation. We're at the point now where people don't even realize we exist, and when they find out we exist, they're blown away. They cannot believe that we exist, and not just on the res, but in every facet of life, right? Like, it's insane to some people that, like, there are natives off of the reservations, right? Like, it's hard for them to even contemplate that we have communities in urban places. Like, my parents have their whole life's work has been about creating safe space and creating spiritual grounds for urban Native people in Colorado, right? That urban Native people don't just exist on the reservations. A lot of them live in these cities. They live in Los Angeles. They live in Chicago, Denver.
Now.
And that happened very intentionally in the 60s and 70s, right? You have to know the history of this, that people are there intentionally. That a lot of Native people don't have tribal status because they were told, give up your land, give up your tribal status, and we'll give you money, we'll give you a place to live, you'll have food, we'll give you education. And they shipped these people to urban cities, which is why Chicago, Denver, Los Angeles, all of these places have huge Native populations of people who don't have tribal enrollment. And my parents have spent their whole lives trying to create safe space for the Native American church to exist there, for Sweat Lodge to be able to be held, for all of these different things to exist. And
oh my God, your parents are major.
Yeah, my parents are like, honestly, I mean, my parents birthed the LANDBACK BADDIE.
I mean, I'm like, okay,
like, you know,
I see it, I get it. What is the name of their organization? Or
so our church is called Teocalli Sacred Heart of the Mountain. Yeah, I mean, I grew up around so many different indigenous identity, you know, the Cheyenne, the Ute,
Love.
Lakota, Chicano, like the Mexica, like all of us exist in this area. And I feel like urban indigenous people totally understand what it feels like to feel alone in a community and kind of feel like an outsider from what's happening on the res, right?
Yeah.
What's happening in these rural communities. So we really stick together. We stick
Yes.
together because we know that like if we don't stick together, they will just completely erase us
Yeah.
altogether. So we really like urban native people know what it means to stick together
And also, if you
regardless of tribe.
disconnect from your community back home, or like boarding school, like kids that were taken away from their families, and then at 18 kicked out to the street. So some people don't reconnect with their community in urban spaces, and they're lost. And so I think it's important that we have spaces like Relative Arts.
Yes.
When they were here, I was telling them, your brick and mortar storefront is kind of like back home. We have those community buildings where we can have whatever we want. We can have birthday parties, celebrations, graduation dinners, any dinners we want, hand games. And for us in New York, Relative Arts has kind of stepped up and been that place
Yeah.
to, like, if you have a video, you want to launch it, like launch your video. That's why I just think what they have created is so important
No, I don't know what I would do
for
without Relative Arts, to be
exactly.
honest. Like they've been so
It's really transformative, like what they've done
transformative.
in the
Yes.
New York native community,
Yeah.
like hardcore, and it being young and fun and queer and all inclusive and diverse from the north and the south,
And
all our
free.
relatives.
Like the events are all free. Like they don't
Yes,
even they don't make money off of like they don't
yes.
even get paid
That's
to
why I'm
like
like, support
run that
Relative
store. You
Arts.
support Relative
It's
Arts
so important
on
for
10th
us.
between B and C.
Yes, period. So wait, now, do you have any favorite activists? Obviously,
Casey
Casey
Camp,
Camp is our favorite.
Grandma Casey.
What about musicians, music, or like influencers, whoever? Do you have someone that you like love to follow that you want to like shout out?
Um yeah, I mean I love Kaylani.
Oh my
Yeah,
God,
I fucking love
sister!
Kaylani.
God, the
Kaylani does.
finest.
When Kaylani followed me, I'm not gonna lie, that was one of the biggest moments. I was really happy.
Oh,
Respond to me, sis. Been hitting you
oh my
up.
God,
You know what I mean?
Kaylani! Oh
Amazing. No,
my
I love the work
God,
that she does. I love that she's willing to
on her
stand.
fucking
She is
platform.
willing to stand in what she believes in. And honestly, so one of the biggest reasons why I really started growing in my following is when I started speaking against the genocide occurring in Palestine right now. And
Period.
I did
Free
that not just
Palestine.
because it was popular at the time. I also did that because when we were in Standing Rock, a group of Palestinian youth came to
Yes.
Standing Rock and they talked to us and they educated us about what was happening at that time in Standing Rock and connecting it to the Dakota Access Pipeline. And there had been several. I would find myself so randomly in the most random places at pro-Palestinian
Yeah.
activations, and I would literally just be like walking down the street in LA, and would end up at this
Yes.
pro-Palestinian outside like the Israeli
Yeah. Consulate.
consulate,
Yeah.
like speaking out against this and
Because it's been happening for years.
decades. And it's crazy because people want to say and be like, oh,
Decades.
well, it's anti-Semitic. That's insane because
Absolutely
most of
not.
the people who do this are Jewish.
Thank you
Like
very
so
much.
many of the people who are actively fighting against what is happening right now are Jewish.
Yes.
And like they stand with their Palestinian brothers and sisters and their
Yes.
siblings. And so I really started speaking out against that. When I started doing that, a lot of folks started following me. And during that time, I was also being reached out by a lot of acting agencies. They were sending me a lot of potential roles to audition for.
Work.
And I was auditioning for them, and it was kind of weird because I love to act, but I kind of like to act as myself. Like I'm like, typecast me. You know what I mean?
Typecast.
Like
Typecast
I don't
us.
really want to be like something I'm not. Like I just want. I feel like this just needs to be seen
Yes.
in the media.
Same.
And I didn't really relate to a lot of the roles that they were sending me, but they were still sending me a lot. And then I started speaking out
And wait, this is all through Instagram.
This is all through Instagram.
You had
like,
casting agents.
Yeah, like
work.
Mid Thunder Casting was sending me a
Yes.
lot, and then I started speaking out against the genocide in Palestine, and all of my speaking gigs, all of my acting gigs, all of that dried up instantly. They stopped coming in. They stopped reaching out to me. I totally fell off their radar completely. And like, I'm sure they'd probably be like, oh, that's not why. We all know why. We know what it was. You can sit here and you can try to lie in my face about whatever you want, but it doesn't matter to me. And at the end of the day, like Kehlani, I will burn this shit to the ground before I ever give up, like go be an actor just to give up these people. I'm sorry, but I'm going to speak out against genocide. I'm going to speak out against the murder of young, innocent children. I'm going to speak out against the murder of innocent people, period. I don't care if it's Palestinian lives, if it's Native lives, if it's Black lives. I believe that people have the right to exist. They have the right to freedom. They have the right to bodily autonomy. They have the right to clean water. They have the right to safety. And I will stand on that hill and I will die on that hill. And at the end of the day, if that means that I don't get that role or that role, that's fine. That's completely fine with me. And actually, that has made me an even strong, like that has made me stronger as a person in general, because I've really realized that like even without all that, I'm still talented. Even with all out of that, I still have a voice. I have a stronger voice. I'm more talented by standing in that and by sticking up for what I believe in. And so it's been it's been sad, not like getting the speaking gigs, not being asked to come to these things. And like, it's been sad to see who they've replaced me with, but also I know that who they've replaced me with, they're not going to say what I'm saying. They're not willing to do the things that I'm doing, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with losing out on those opportunities, because if that's what it means for me to have those opportunities, then I don't want them.
Exactly.
I will create my own opportunities, and we should be creating our own opportunities.
That part.
That's what you're doing here, right?
Yes.
It's like we're doing this for the people who believe in what we believe in. And if that means that I'm not a part of Hollywood, then fuck Hollywood. I don't need to be a part of Hollywood.
No, fuck. We have our own Hollywood here, honey.
We have our own Hollywood here.
You were just on a panel the other day with Omar.
Yes.
And so you're still getting gigs, honey.
No, yeah, for sure. I'm still getting gigs.
The baby doll is still booking the campaign.
Yes.
So but I know what you mean by there are certain people in Hollywood that are scared of people that run Hollywood.
Yeah.
And we know who runs Hollywood.
We know who runs Hollywood.
Yeah, obviously, right? Because we have people not speaking up that are not Kehlani because she doesn't give a fuck, which I love that. Actually, she does give a fuck, and that's why she is speaking up.
Yeah.
And we need more of that. And, Lily Gladstone, like, she's always posting things.
Always. Yeah.
And I just feel that when you're standing on the right side of history, and when I see people that I follow on Instagram standing on I'm like, thank God. Thank God. And the people that aren't and have that platform, they're also saying something by not saying something.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you can die on that hill, but you know what? You're going to die with feeling amazing. Like you did what you did.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
And also, I'm not alone on that hill.
Absolutely
so
not.
It's a party. It's a party. It's a party. It's a
baddie.
party. Hey, like
it's a
I'm
baddie
like
function. Honey.
Yeah. But I definitely I love Kehlani. I will also say my favorite artist, my favorite rapper of all time is Pop Smoke. Will always be Pop Smoke.
Oh my God, R.I.P.
Yeah,
no, she's
bro,
a drill baby.
I know. I literally people were like, someone asked me recently, did you move to, because they found out I live in Chinatown. They're like, did you move here to live your best Lady Gaga fantasy? And I was like, no, I definitely moved here to live my best Pop Smoke fantasy, but nice try. You know what I mean? Like, I was like,
bitch, work. Yeah. Okay, yes, Pop Smoke.
Yeah, no.
I would not have guessed that.
Oh my God, I love
your favorite
Pop Smoke.
rapper. I'm obsessed.
Favorite rapper. And like, honestly, so I went to the Megan Thee Stallion Glorilla concert about a year ago.
Me too.
At the Pepsi Center.
At MSG.
At
Madison Square Garden.
No, I actually went in Denver.
Oh, okay.
I was in Denver, but honestly, that was one of the best fucking concerts I've ever been to in my life, right? Glorilla opens, lit as fuck, and then they play the entire extended version of Pop Smoke's album in between Glorilla and fucking Megan Thee Stallion coming out, and literally the whole time I'm just like rapping every word. I'm like,
best.
fuck yeah. Bro, would have ran through the woo.
That's that, I mean, for you, that didn't happen in New York, but I'm glad that happened for you. Like,
No, it
that
was
was meant to
so
be.
good. Oh, I literally, and I remember my
that was
best
such a
friend
good-
looking at me. She was like, "Oh, you really love Pop Smoke, don't you?" I was like, "No, I fucking love Pop Smoke, yo.
I
Like, he is my favorite." Like,
Actually, all the baddies really do love drill.
no,
Baddies
yeah,
love
I mean,
drill.
yeah, like,
They
like,
love drill.
I love the way that you.
It's that masculine energy.
No,
that
it's
we
good. No, and
love.
he's so hot, or he was so hot.
Oh,
Like,
I
fuck,
know.
such a
I
tragedy,
know.
such a tragedy.
I know.
Like PMB, such a
Like-
tragedy.
like- The locations, like people finding out your location and like.
Oh, I'm really careful about that. I honestly like I mean I'm not even in that like lifestyle, and I'm still very careful
Yeah.
because as like a queer, trans, native, outspoken, like I'd be scared that someone's gonna find me and like
Yeah.
try to, you know, granted I got these hands, but you know, still there, no matter what hands you got, you never know. Like, so yeah, that location thing really freaks me. I mean, living in a time of like people just posting where they're at constantly is really insane to me. Like,
Yeah.
especially growing up with the movement people who were like, we can't let them know where we're at. You know, the FBI is following us. They're watching. They're listening. It's so crazy to see the where we're in now.
Actually,
and
real. That's yeah.
yeah, like it's crazy. It's like people know where we're at basically at all times of the fuck. Even when you post a picture, that has a stamp as to where you were at when you took that picture.
Yeah.
And they can go in and they can find that
Yeah.
out. So it's insane. Like
Yeah.
you basically drop pins everywhere you're at, even using maps, right? Like
Yeah.
they can track that shit. So anyway, yeah, those
I know
are my
we
favorite
can get away
people.
with anything.
I'm also,
actually.
and you know, I think controversial but true, I am a barb.
Oh, we love Nikki. Come on.
You know,
Wait, are you do you hate Cardi?
I
You're not in-
love Cardi.
Oh, okay,
I
I was like,
honestly,
but wait,
I'm gonna
hold
be
up.
honest. I love all of our female
Me
rappers.
too.
Like I think, and I shouldn't even say. I love all of our female rappers. I think they're amazing. They're fucking running the game right now. Lotto,
Bitch.
fucking
Doechii? Stop.
Cardi B, Nicki. Like they're all amazing. And like, but you know, for me, Lil Kim, Nicki Minaj,
Period.
like they were all the blueprint. Missy Elliott,
Azalea
right?
Banks.
Azalea
Ooh,
Banks.
She's problematic, but we love. What a
We
genius.
love a problematic ass bitch. Like what?
Get it together, girl. Make some more music.
No, I
God.
love them, but like yeah, I'm a barb. I'm also I'm a Barty, you know what I mean? Like I'm all
Barty
of them.
gang,
Yeah, like I
yeah.
mean I love all of our women who are killing it, who are doing it, who are making names for themselves, who are dominating in
Yes.
male dominated fields, right?
Yes.
Like for a long time you didn't see female rappers,
Yes.
right? And now it's like they're the ones. They're doing it. They're better than the male
men hate
rappers.
it,
Like they
and they're
hate
hating
it.
it.
Definitely, you know, I'm a barb for sure. Like I can recite most
She's- oh, I
every
live.
pull up in a monster automobile gangster with a bad bitch that came from Sri Lanka. Yeah, I'm in the Tonka color Willy Wonka.
Yes. Oh my God. Period. Wait.
You could be the king, but watch the queen conquer.
Yes. Okay. Wait. This has been amazing. Before we wrap up, I have a question. Describe your perfect day, or whatever, a day, a moment. What brings you joy?
I feel like I have so many answers to that, but I will have to say a perfect day typically involves my parents. I love my parents so much. They're my best friends. They're older. My mom is, they're older. My mom, I won't say my mom's age, but they're older.
Word.
And they look amazing. They're super limber. They're super young. Like my mom and dad can sit down in a cross-leg position and stand right up. Like they don't need help. Like they're
I
good,
cannot
you
do
know?
that.
Yeah, like
Word.
they're great.
Oh.
But I would have to say like right now it's really important to me, and it's really one of the most timeless, priceless things is to be in contact with my parents, whether that's physically or just on the phone or through text. So to me, the perfect day would be being with my parents in some way. Actually, before I moved to New York, I basically would see my mother and father every single day. Like my mom comes over usually.
Are you an only child?
I am not an only child. I'm
Okay.
actually the youngest of
Oh, but you're the
7.
young-
So
Oh,
yeah.
stop.
And then I'm actually a great uncle. I have great nieces and nephews now, great auntie. Like, yeah, which technically I'm realizing like I'm like a grandpa, I'm a grandma. You know what I mean? Like, and so I also have nieces. I have a niece that's older than me. Like, I'm a very, very like Chicano, very native like person, and so we have a really large family. With
but you're the favorite, obviously.
I'm totally the favorite. No, that's gonna piss off a couple of my siblings, but and with that, we have all the drama that comes with big families. Like not all of us really like each other, like, but there's camaraderie there, like and there's the drama. We have all of it. It's so spicy. But yeah, my typical day for me would be waking up, going to the gym. I love being in the gym. Being here in New York, I haven't really been able to get into my gym routine like I was back home. So I've like lost like 15 pounds in muscle mass, which is super sad. But I'll get it back. I'll get it back.
Yeah.
I'll go to the gym. After that, I would say like spending time outside. I really love just like being in the sun and like soaking up as much sun as I can. Like, it's so important to me. Then probably going and grabbing lunch. I love going with like me and my mom. We hang out. Like I love me, my mom, and my sister are very close. So like meeting up with them, going out to get lunch, in some way or another, and then coming back home, having a smoke. You know what I mean? Like just chilling, and then sitting and watching all of our shows, whether it's Baddies, whether it's 90 Day Fiancé, 1,000 Pound Sisters, girl.
90 Day.
This season is amazing. Last season was amazing.
So
amazing.
much.
Yeah, so much. No, I love it all. I love the trash TV. I love all of my, like, I love The Last of Us. I love like all of these, like, I love it all. I think there's so much.
We love an HBO program.
Love a nice HBO
do you watch
program.
Hacks?
I haven't started watching it though. Okay,
the
I'll have to watch
writing is
Hacks.
incredible.
Okay.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Like, it's incredible. Like,
And then
what a show.
I would say ending my night just chilling on the couch watching trash TV until I pass out.
Oh my
It's
God,
like honestly one of my
asleep
favorite.
on the couch, my
Love
favorite.
it. Yeah. Like, and it's so crazy because here in New York, I don't get that. Like that day is very much so like have to go back home for that because I'm here. It's like I wake up, I got to get going, or I have to get straight to work, and it's like the hustle is so much different here, right? Like me, I don't have a TV like that. I watch my laptop in my room, right? And it's so much smaller. It's like I've downsized a lot in what I have and what I'm living, and so although I do love the hustle and bustle, I would say like my favorite day, my ideal like just living life day would have to be that like chill, be with your family, be with the people who you love, do the fun things, like rest as resistance. Like we shouldn't, like one of the best ways to resist this system is by actively taking care of ourselves and resting and sleeping and doing the things that are fun to us. So I would say that would have to be like my ideal day. Like that's what I would say is like I know that I had a good day if that happened.
Yes, I love that. That sounds. I mean, I want to do that right now.
Yeah.
Right after this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna smoke. I'm gonna watch the Knicks game. I don't know if you're a sports fan. My boyfriend is from New York. He's a sports fan.
No, yeah. All the guys I talk to love the Knicks. So
all the trade,
all the trade, girl. All the trade.
Yeah. So be ready. If the Knicks win, you might get some good trade tonight. Because if they win, then
they're playing again tonight, though.
Tonight's. And they won the other night, and people because they were down 2 games, which is like the night we were.
They get real sad too. They get so sad, like they don't even want to hang out. They're
no. It's a real thing. I have a Knicks fan at home. When they lose, there's just no coming back from it. Like,
no.
I'm like, can I do it? Like, there's nothing. You ain't getting nothing. You ain't getting.
They like don't even want to hang out. I'm like, are you sure I can't cheer you up? They're like, no.
Like even just like, yeah, no, there's nothing. So if they win, get ready. It's gonna be lit out in the streets. And this game is in Indiana right now, but it's gonna be lit. So prepare yourself.
Okay, I will. I'm prepared. I'm gonna say a special prayer for the Knicks,
Please,
y'all.
Nick,
yes.
Knicks
Put down some tobacco.
Tonight. Yes.
It's tonight?
The game is tonight in Indiana.
And so is this like the final game
no,
or is this?
But they have to win this game and the next game to stay in the fucking thing.
Y'all got this. Y'all got this. Y'all got this.
Yes, for all our Knicks trade, we need y'all to keep winning.
Yes.
But wait, Landback Baddie. I mean, where can we find you? Give me all your socials, your shout outs, what you want, manifestations.
Yeah,
Let's go.
absolutely.
Tell
So you
me.
can follow me, LANDBACK BADDIE, across the board. Oh, on TikTok, it's the LANDBACK BADDIE because they banned my last
We
profile.
love to ban TikTok baddie.
They said it was for public nudity, and I'm like, girl, I should have shown these titties, please. Like, and
Honey.
really, I found out that's how that they get people
Yeah.
banned. Yeah, it's like something that
Yeah.
people do.
Haters.
Yeah, TikTok, if you're listening, please give me my TikTok back. But it's all good. I got my following back. Anyway,
Work.
LANDBACK BADDIE across the board. Venmo, LANDBACK BADDIE. Cash App, LANDBACK BADDIE.
Period.
Remember that. I also run a nonprofit organization called Indigiqueer Creative Alliance.
Yes.
We support queer and trans, natives, and just BIPOC, like in Black and Indigenous and people of
Yes.
color. Ultimately, I believe in supporting our people, and I don't necessarily just believe my people are Indigenous, but
Period.
everything that we do is through an Indigenous framework. It's through an Indigenous lens, and so I support all of our people who are willing to learn and support that. And but
Yes.
yeah, primarily we focus on queer and trans Indigenous artists, activists, everything in that.
Do you
wheelhouse.
guys have anything popping off for Pride?
Hell yeah. I'm actually teaming up with Relative Arts and Urban Indigenous Collective to host an Indigipride drag show on June 26th. So it'll be the weekend of New York Pride. Exactly.
Okay.
And we're doing it like on the Thursday before at a pretty good time. So it'll start at 6 p.m. and end at 9. So after, the girls can go do the thing.
Frolic in the
Yes,
streets.
absolutely. And it's going to be a lot of fun. We have all Indigenous drag performers. Lady Shug is going to be
Lady
here.
Shug!
The one and only
We
Lady
love that
Shug
Lady
will be in the house.
Lady Shug.
Yeah, she was the first to confirm, and she's
period.
gonna be here. We're gonna support her in every way that we can. We have some amazing other young. Some of them, it's like they're new to this drag performance. Some of them have been doing it for a while. We have Southern, Northern, Black, Natives.
Yes.
Everybody's coming together. I really want to show people a very, like, to me, this feels like a very authentic representation of even who I am as a queer Native person, right? We have folks from the res, folks from the city, Black natives, Southern natives, light skinned. We have everybody going to be under one house, and we're really going to be celebrating pride as Indigenous people.
Yes.
It is a fundraiser for Urban Indigenous Collective and Indigiqueer. And so it'll be $20 for our allies and $10 for community.
Love.
And if anybody's struggling to do that, reach out to us. We'll work something out.
And if you just want to donate, you can donate to you, or
so
do you have
can,
a specific Venmo for this event?
Yeah, so you can. For this event, we don't, but if you want to donate to Indigiqueer, you can go to indigiqueer.org/donate, and we have Venmo. We also have Zephy if you don't have Venmo.
Great.
So there's tons of ways that you can donate, and yeah, you're just going to be supporting what we're doing in the future. We do a back-to-school giveaway that's coming up in August for a lot of the youth in Rosebud.
I just saw that on your Instagram.
Yeah,
You shared it, which I love the kids.
Yes,
Giving
my
back
babies.
to the kids. Our babies.
Our babies.
Yeah, they need backpacks and they need school supplies, you all.
Yeah, and we also give them. I'm working with a group that provides like female hygiene products as well. So it's like we provide all the stuff for back to school. Like back to school isn't just like backpacks and paper and pencils. Like it's deodorant, it's toothpaste, it's all of the things that are needed to go back to school, right?
Yes.
And so as this grows, I'm hoping one day I can also provide like underwear, like undergarments, socks, like things like that, things that we kind of take for I took for granted as someone who had parents who were working and can provide those things for me. Like we forget, like a lot of these young people, a lot of young femmes don't go to school because they're on their period and they don't want to, they feel like they're not clean or they might bleed through there. So providing products for that so they can feel safe and comfortable when going to school is a part of back to school. So
important.
Yeah. So everyone come. It's going to be a lot of fun. And
I'm so bitter because I'll be back home in a week.
Well, follow us on Instagram.
So bitter.
Indigiqueer is at i.queer. So that's us on Instagram.
Yes, i.queer on Instagram. LANDBACK BADDIE is landback.baddie.
No, it's just LANDBACK BADDIE. Yes,
LANDBACK BADDIE.
LANDBACK BADDIE. I took that shit right away. So
Work.
yeah.
Oh my God. Thank you so much for everything that you do for all our communities.
Yeah, and thank you for having me.
Oh my God, I'm so excited that you were available to do this and you came and you said such beautiful words.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. See you soon, cousins. Bye.